Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today, we're going to explore something really cool, the art of storytelling.
Ooh, I love a good story.
Me too. But, it's more than just entertainment. We've got this article, The Art of Storytelling, crafting narratives that captivate. And get this, it says storytelling is actually wired into our brains.
Yeah, it's like hardwired, right? Makes
Yeah.
information way more sticky than just, just laying out the fact.
Totally. Like, think about it. Which is more memorable, a dry presentation or a speaker who weaves in a personal anecdote or something?
Oh, definitely the story. I mean, that's how we learn as kids, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how does this article, how does it define storytelling?
Well, it talks about connecting with an audience, right? Sharing
Yeah.
experiences, ideas, entertaining. But it goes deeper than that.
Deeper.
Deeper. It's not just about listing the events. It's about making meaning.
Making meaning, okay.
Yeah, we all know the basic elements of a story, like characters, plot, conflict resolution. But this article, it goes beyond that.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce then? What makes a story truly captivating?
Well, it taps into something really primal, our human need for connection.
Connection.
We're wired to look for patterns, to empathize. Stories give us that in a way that facts never could.
Makes sense. So it's about tapping into those deeper needs, those human needs.
Exactly. It's about creating an experience, a shared experience.
So where do we even begin? How do we craft a story that really grabs someone?
But the article breaks it down into 5 key elements. And the first one is a strong hook.
A hook, okay? Like a fishing hook.
Kind of. It grabs your attention right from the start. Think about a book that you just couldn't put down.
Or the first scene of a movie that's just like, whoa.
Exactly. That's a good hook.
And what about the characters? Did they need to be like superheroes or something?
Not at all. They just need to be relatable, flawed even. We connect with characters who are, human.
Makes sense. Nobody's perfect.
Right. We see ourselves in their struggles, their doubts.
So even villains can be relatable.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, what else? What keeps us hooked?
Conflict and tension. Without challenges, there's no story.
True, true. It's like, what's the point if everything's easy peasy?
Exactly. It can be external conflict or even internal struggles like moral dilemmas.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us on the edge of our seats.
Ooh, the suspense. Okay, so we've got the hook, relatable characters, conflict. What else makes a story stand out?
Authenticity. People crave stories that feel real.
You mean like genuine?
Yeah, genuine. It's about honesty, vulnerability.
Makes sense, like we can spot a fake a mile away.
Exactly. Authenticity builds trust and it makes the story more impactful.
Okay, last but not least, what wraps it all up?
Resolution with meaning. The ending doesn't always have to be happy, but it should leave us with something to think about.
So it's not just about tying up loose ends.
No, it's about providing closure, maybe even a lesson learned.
Okay, so we've covered the core elements of a great story. This is already super helpful.
We're just getting started. Welcome back to our deep dive, exploring the world of storytelling.
We've laid the groundwork, haven't we? Talking about those core elements. But now, let's get practical. How about some examples?
Yeah, let's see how this stuff actually works.
So the article talks about 5 types of stories. Let's start with personal stories. What makes them so, powerful?
Think about it this way. A friend tells you about something that happened to them, something personal, and it really hits you,
Yeah, like you've suddenly realized, oh, I'm not alone in feeling this way.
Right. It creates that connection, that empathy.
Powerful stuff. And the article mentions cautionary tales too, right? Like warning us about something.
Exactly. Those stories, often with symbolism, they teach us lessons. Think of Aesop's fables, right?
Ooh, yeah, those classic tales. Okay, but what about stories that inspire us? Lift us up.
You're talking about inspirational stories. They show us what's possible, even against the odds.
Like the underdog stories, right? The article mentions Rocky. You just root for him, even though he's not supposed to win.
Yeah, it gives us hope, courage, reminds us we can overcome challenges.
Okay, so we've got personal, cautionary, inspirational. Now, what about educational stories? Sounds kind of boring, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't have to be. A good storyteller can weave information into a compelling narrative.
So it's like learning without even realizing it.
Exactly. Think about documentaries, like Planet Earth. You're engrossed in the story, but you're also absorbing tons of information about nature.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the last type?
Brand stories. It's how businesses use narratives to connect with customers.
Oh, like those commercials that tell a story about a company or a product, right?
Exactly. It's about building brand loyalty by, creating an emotional connection.
So we've got all these different types of stories, each with their own purpose. But how do we actually get better at telling them?
That's where those techniques we talked about earlier come in. Remember, the hook, relatable characters, conflict, authenticity.
Right, right. So it's like having different tools in our storytelling toolbox, and we pick the right ones depending on the story we're trying to tell.
Exactly. And like with any craft, practice makes perfect.
Welcome back. We've covered a lot of ground, different types of stories, why they work, all that. But now let's get to the fun part. How do we actually craft a captivating narrative?
Right. Let's dive into those techniques, the ones that can really make a story sing.
Okay, first up, the article talks about show, don't tell. What's the deal with that?
It's all about creating an experience for the listener, Instead of just stating facts, you use vivid language, sensory details.
So like instead of saying the pizza was delicious, you describe what? The gooey cheese and the smell of oregano.
Exactly. You'd make them taste it, almost.
Ooh, I like that. Painting a picture with words.
Exactly. You engage the listener's imagination.
Okay, what else? What about pacing? I feel like that's important.
Oh, absolutely. Pacing is key. It's about knowing when to speed up, when to slow down.
Like in a movie, right? Fast-paced action scene, then a quiet, tense moment.
You got it. It keeps the audience engaged, keeps them guessing.
So it's like controlling the emotional roller coaster of the story.
You could say that. And speaking of emotions, don't forget about humor.
Humor is always good.
Right. It makes the story more enjoyable, more relatable.
But it's not all laughs, right?
Mm.
Sometimes you need a good cry, too.
Exactly. A balance of humor and emotion is key. You want to connect with the audience on a deeper level,
Make them feel something real.
Yes. And one way to do that is by engaging the senses.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like describe the sounds, the smells, the textures.
Exactly. Make them feel like they're right there in the story.
Okay, so we've got showing, pacing, humor, emotion, and engaging the senses. Anything else?
Last but not least, concision. Every word counts.
Ah, get to the point. No rambling.
Exactly. Cut the fluff. Make it sharp, impactful.
So basically, we've got a whole arsenal of storytelling techniques.
And the best part is anyone can learn them.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
So we all have the power to tell a great story, huh?
Absolutely. We just need to practice, experiment, and find our voice.
And don't forget those key elements, the hook, the conflict, relatable characters.
All those ingredients come together to make a truly captivating narrative.
This has been an awesome deep dive. Really makes you appreciate the power of storytelling.
It's everywhere, isn't it? In our lives, in our work, even in the way we connect with each other.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing your expertise with us today. This has been eye-opening.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep telling your stories. The world needs to hear them.